Benefits podcast with our special host today, Anthony McMahon. Anthony, how are you? From ClaimLinx's, you decided to take Tom's spot today, didn't you?
Yeah, big shoes to fill. Don't know if I could do it, but couldn't be better. Very excited to dive in and hopefully live up to time.
You did an excellent job last time, but now I have some prepared questions, so we're ready to roll. And today's topic is maximizing your benefits, a deep dive into ClaimLinx's complimentary elite services. So today we're going to explore ClaimLinx's complimentary elite services, which exclusive benefits provided to clients that optimize healthcare, enhance savings, and streamline healthcare administration. Anthony, let's talk about some of these things. This stuff is important to look at, like medical claim negotiation and reporting. This is extra add-ons that working with ClaimLinx's gives you.
Bottom line is we want to save our clients and their employees as much money as possible. There's many ways to do that. Obviously, the most primary way is to set up the plan correctly, the way that we do with our solution. But in that solution, we deal with claims. And a lot of TPAs and a lot of people just pay claims on their face. They don't do investigation into, is this accurate? Is this billed accurate? Is it under the right procedure code? Are there any manufacturing drug coupons if it's an RX? Are there any hospital grants? Are there any disease grants? There's multiple avenues to get other resources to pay for these claims so that the business and the employees do not have to, or at least not have to pay the whole thing. And we explore all those options for our clients because, as mentioned, the end goal is to save them money, and we do anything in our power to do that.
See, I would have, that's a key thing, because sometimes you get the medical bill you don't really or agree with. Whoa, I'm paying this amount. And that's where ClaimLinx's comes in, right? Hey, they billed me way too much at the hospital. They billed me here or that. You need to take a look at when that money comes back and you see specifically this was only covered. You better question it, right?
100%. They trust us as their TPA to look through everything, make sure that everything's accurate. And it's our job to ensure that they or their employees never overpay by one penny for any claim that they get. And like I said, we try to get other people to pay for it first. And if they don't pay for it, then we try to negotiate it down. Typically, hospitals will take 20% off of the bill if you pay cash. So these are just a couple of different things that most people don't know that you can actually leverage to get your balances down for health services that you do render.
So really, you see this happening a lot. This is not like a one-time basis. There are so many times where the insurance companies bill too much back to the employer.
Yeah, I don't know the exact percentage of it, but many bills are inaccurate and can be negotiated upon and reviewed and changed. And yeah, it's not set in stone.
Okay. Definitely, that's a great thing. The second thing we wanted to talk about, member and administrator portals. We never talked about that. Talk a little bit about the member and administrator portals when you sign up with ClaimLinx's.
Yeah, we're just trying to make the entire experience easier, both for our groups, our administrators internally in those companies, and then for the employees as well. Give them like a really one-stop shop access to see everything to do with their health insurance and with their ClaimLinx's insurance. So they can see pending claims, they can request cards, they can request service, they can generate reports, both at the employer level and the employee level. And we're continuing to build out those technologies to make sure that it's really comprehensive for everybody so that any questions that they ever have, they can really turn there and just request support if something is unclear.
And that it has to be a great user-friendly experience. That's because ClaimLinx's has been around a long time. They understand the importance of giving the best service for the employer and the employee.
Yeah, 100%. We're making it better every single day, every week. We're open to further suggestions from our members. Any feedback they ever have, we're happy to implement it. But at the end of the day, we want to just make it transparent and easy to use and have a great experience from both the employer standpoint and the employee standpoint.
Yeah, because if you don't have the experience, forget about it. Now let's talk about prescription savings and consulting. Prescription drugs can become very expensive. And what do you guys do at ClaimLinx's?
Yeah, we work with multiple different PBMs. APRO-RX is one of our favorite PBMs to work with. They source drugs at the lowest possible cost for our employers and their employees. I mentioned manufacturing drug coupon cards. That's another avenue. If somebody has a high cost drug and we can determine that ahead of time, you could actually go on like websites like GoodRx, for instance, and see, is this high cost drug potentially have a coupon card? And if it does, we can apply to a member and see if they qualify. And if they do qualify, what that could potentially do is satisfy their primary medical deductible for the year, meaning that both the employee and the employer are not going to be on the hook for any claims. their drug's going to be paid for 100% by the manufacturer, and they'll just have a small, say, $5, $10 copay. So these are just things that people don't know because they don't really have an incentive to say business isn't employees' money. They just sign them up and circle back a renewal. But these are things that you can do, whether you're an individual listening to the podcast or a small business, to actually get the care that your employees need, but at a fraction of the cost or at the least possible cost.
So tell me what PBAs are for people that might not know what a PBA is.
PBM. Pharmacy benefit managers. They handle all the scripts, all the RX. It's good to work with ones that have transparent pricing and really help source drugs the lowest possible cost without spreads.
And I've heard stories on a podcast I co-hosted, Strategic Wealth Strategies podcast with Alan Porter. Alan talked about PBMs and how they can be very elusive and don't trust always what you, and that's why you work with someone like ClaimLinx.
Yeah, exactly. We do that filtering and sourcing for you. So the PBMs that we work with are aligned with our solution and our vision for our clients, which, as mentioned, is saving them and their employees money. And I know PBMs are very much in the news, and I know there's a lot of changes happening with law and everything like that right now. And I think a lot of it's still TBD. But you do want to work with somebody who has incentives aligned that are trying to save people money and get it at the lowest possible cost instead of just maximizing their profits.
All right, let's talk about the thing that I've talked about so much, but I've always gotten it from Tom, the customization and convenience of benefit plans that you guys really customize here. And that is the key thing that makes you different, even for your competitors that do almost similar things to you.
Yeah. So basically we have 2 steps to our process. We buy primary coverage. Typically it's a high deductible plan with a network of hospitals and doctors that they need. Once that's set in place, we then put in a secondary MERP, the medical expense reimbursement plan. Through that, we reimburse hospitals and providers after they render health services to the employees. But within that MERP, you could design the plan in any way that you want. You could list whatever deductibles, out-of-pocket maximums, copays, visitation limits. Every group varies. A lot of groups like to just copy what they had originally and see how it plays out on year one. But then from there, when they experience the savings, at that point, they'll start giving more to the employees, lowering the deductibles, lowering the copays, extending visitation limits. And some employees even give a $0 deductible and just make everything copays for simplicity purposes. That's the cool part about a MERP is you can make the benefits whatever you want. You don't need to buy a certain type of plan or coverage from a carrier. You can just design it yourself and tandem with us.
And that's the part that you don't know, that when you look at a high deductible, that doesn't mean bad, right? That's what a lot of people look at as a high deductible is a bad thing. And when you look at a health plan, but there's something more to that process, isn't it?
Yeah. High deductible is just the stop loss that we're buying. So that's the primary coverage. And then the MERP is the secondary coverage. So when we're buying high deductible, you could just translate it to all we're buying is stop loss. So that if something significant happens, the employee and the business are not going to be on the hook for this large claim. And secondarily, regardless if you buy a low deductible plan or a high deductible plan from a carrier, you still have that same network. If you buy a PPO, if you buy an EPO, if you buy an HMO, it doesn't matter what level of deductible that you're at. You're still a part of that network, which means you can go to those doctors, go to those hospitals. So that's what we leverage. And the most important part of that is your premiums are typically about half the price.
Oh, wow. Okay. And that's the difference is you want the premium to not be the big expense that's costing you all the time. And when you look at specifically high deductibles, there are for certain things, not everything. I think that's where the mistake explained that whole thing. There could be a high deductible on certain parts of it, but really you're never going to have to worry about that sometimes.
Yeah, no. Primary is set up at high deductible so that you have stop loss, you don't have major claims, and you have the network. And then underneath of that, through the MERP, you can give a quote unquote low deductible to the employee base so that their day-to-day experience, they have the same coverage or better coverage than they had previously. So they had a $2,000 deductible previously, and we switched them to a $5,000 deductible primary plan, which is considered a high deductible. You, within the MERP, can then give the employees a $2,000 deductible still, and then you just self-finance the difference of the business with your premium savings. Nothing changes from the employee's experience. They'll still have a low deductible plan. It's just how it's being financed on the back end, which we manage.
So what do you mean? So define MERP for me. What does MERP mean?
Medical expense reimbursement. Basically, it leverages Section 105 of the tax code, which could sound boring, but basically it means everything that runs through it is a write-off for the business, tax-free benefit for the employee, and it allows you to give those lower deductibles and copays underneath of the high deductible primary plan. And the word reimbursement in it means that we as a TPA are going to reimburse hospitals and providers after your employees render health services. It doesn't mean that they have to go out of pocket and then get reimbursed. Nothing changes from their day experience. They'll still have copays, deductibles, et cetera. It's pretty nice.
It definitely is. And that's where you guys are able to do it, the magic, right? Because it might look bad at first, and then then it's not going to cost the employee. They're going to have better benefits because they're paying the premium's a lot less. And then you use the MERP, and then it changes everything. And yeah.
And a lot of the time, the premiums that you're getting charged on those lower deductible plans are so exuberant in contrast to, what you'd be charged on a high deductible plan, where I always show an example where, I got two different plans set up side by side. One is a gold, one's a bronze. Gold would be considered low deductible, bronze would be considered high deductible. And if you just did the math on the premium versus the deductible difference, I think on that one example that I showed, you would save over $13,000 in annual premium payments, and you'd only be taking on $5,000 of additional risk exposure for that. So they're just mispriced. When they know that nobody wants to have high deductible plans and they can't offer that to their employees just straight up, so it wouldn't be a good retention and recruitment tool. But if you pair it with a MERP, where you can give a low deductible underneath of it, that's the way around it. And that's how you make everybody happy.
All right. So education and marketplace access. Why is education critical when transitioning employees to ClaimLinx's unique solution? And how do you measure its success?
I think education is vital for both admins, employers, and employees. We want everybody to be on the same page with our system. There's two cards. There's a primary card with whatever major carrier. Then there's a secondary card. So people need to know that they need to provide two cards at the point of service or provide their secondary ClaimLinx's card at the pharmacy, just so everything can build properly. So that's a huge piece of it. And then also just being more hands-on in terms of service, opening up questions that employees or their spouses or their kids may have, and just having that dialogue so they're better healthcare consumers and make the right decisions. Like, for instance, a lot of the time people can go to urgent care when they go to the emergency room and they don't realize they're paying 5x, 10x the price when they could have just went to urgent care instead. So it saves the business money, it saves the employees money, and it just makes everybody more educated and on the same page.
And that's the key thing. And if you aren't educating them, they're not going to understand the solution, and the experience isn't going to be good. And if the experience isn't good, then you guys wouldn't keep growing. So education is the key, and for people to understand what their rights are with their health insurance, what they do, and all the different things.
Yeah, 100%. We want everybody on the same page, and we want to all get smarter collectively through this process. So yeah, it's a huge piece of it.
All right. If people want to contact you, Anthony, today, or your team, where's the best place they can go?
ClaimLinx.com. You can see on there that we have a plethora of resources. We have materials, videos, articles that you can read up on this, or you could always go to book a consult with me, Tom, Tina, the rest of our sales team. We're happy to figure out what you're doing, how we may help, give some recommendations, and just give you some guidance, because it's a difficult terrain. It's very expensive and a lot of not good information out there. So go to ClaimLinx.com. Feel free to read up, watch some videos, or you could always book a time with us.
All right. That was a special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and the Cutting Edge Benefits podcast, guys. Take care.